So I'm going to walk you guys through exactly what we're doing today to catch these walleyes. It's a very fun way to catch walleyes. Basically, we'll start with the business end. The business end is a lipless crankbait. This bait has a lot of rattle, a lot of vibration. It's what's getting these fish to bite. From there, we tie a cross-lock snap on there. We're doing that solely because we're switching out colors throughout the day, trying to figure out exactly what color is best. So we have a cross-lock snap. The next thing that we have tied on is a fluorocarbon leader, and I use about a 12-pound test fluorocarbon leader. Now this water's got a lot of color to it, so to me it's not about line shyness, but the nice thing about fluorocarbon, it has body to it. So when I make a long cast with that bait, it doesn't accidentally flip around and get caught. Then you're making a lot of casts and simply not catching a lot of fish because that bait is fouling on itself. So I have that fluorocarbon leader. Now the next very important thing that we have is a braided line. I use a double uni knot to tie my fluorocarbon to my braided line, and a braided line is super important for this application. We're making long casts with no stretch. It's very sensitive, and so you can feel those fish bite even at the back end of a very far cast. Now the rod and reel setup that we're using is about a 7-foot medium action rod. What I look for is a very fast tip, because as you lift that bait up, you feel that tunk in the line, you have to set the hook very quickly. I team that up with a size 30 spinning reel, and that's pretty much the ideal setup to catch these walleyes.
We are going to cast out one of these lipless cranks here and talk just a little bit about the best way to fish one in our opinion. This happens to be a rip and wrap. It's made by Rapala, and it's a bait that can be cast a country mile. So that's what I just did. I cast it a long ways. I'll let it sink to the bottom. And as soon as it gets to the bottom, I'm going to lower my rod tip and I'm going to reel up the slack line. And then as I lift, I can feel it buzz. I can feel it vibrate. And that's a good thing. But when I stop the rod, what happens is it kind of pendulums towards me. And then it hits the bottom again. Now I got no action. So I got to reel up that slack again by dropping the rod and raising the rod again. So you feel that buzz, and then it goes slack. And that buzz, and then it goes slack. Well, that buzz is what's attracting the fish in, but typically they don't bite when it's buzzing. Typically they bite when it's sinking back down to the bottom on slack line. And the bite is not as dramatic as you might imagine. It's more of a tick in the line. If you're a jig fisherman and you've caught a lot of walleyes on jigs, the bite is almost exactly the same. A light tick, you react with a rod sweep and a hook set, and you've got that fish. So fishing a lipless crankbait like this is very similar to the same way that you might fish a jig for walleyes.
You know, one of the biggest mistakes though that I see when I see guys fishing a rip and wrap or a lipless style crankbait is they just fish it too aggressively. You feel that vibration in the line and it just makes you want to lift that rod super fast. And that's normally not what's going to get you bit. You have to remember the water is super cold this time of year. So what I like to do is, just like Dad was saying, I like to lift it up and you can feel that vibration from the bait. Now if you're feeling to go brrr, that's too fast, but if you slow it down, you'll go whoop, 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 whoop. That's what we're looking for. So slow your action down just a little bit and you'll get a lot more bites, especially in this cold water. He came off in the net already too. Let's get him out here. Another beautiful fish. You know, these fish here, we're finding out very quickly, they're definitely not give me fish. You got to work for them, but it makes every fish you catch that much more special. And there's nothing like it. If you come out here and you feel that tunk in the line, you set the hook, you're going to be hooked yourself, because this is so much fun. The water's starting to get a little bit cleaner here, and we're fishing right now we're fishing right off the mouth of the Peshtigo River. Right on the mouth itself was a little bit dirty. We slid off, found some little bit cleaner water, and we found some walleyes too. So like I said, we've been moving around a lot, but every place we've moved so far, we've actually caught a fish. So it's been worth finding other spots, finding lots of walleyes.